What is up, power metal fans? So I'm going to do kind of a little less of an in-depth head-to-head between Helloween and Gamma Ray. So, like most people know that Kai Hansen was originally in Gamma Ray. He played guitar and even did vocals on their first couple releases, the Helloween EP and Walls of Jericho, and played guitar up till their third full length, Caper of the Seven Keys Part 2. He left. I think I even heard rumors that the song I Want Out was kind of like a sign that he was wanting to leave. I don't know how true that is, but so I always said for a long time I really didn't own any Helloween past Keeper Part 2. I always said that Helloween continued under Gamma Ray, in my opinion. Kai Hansen took Helloween with him, is the way I kind of looked at it. And I finally, a few years ago, I started buying some of the later Helloween albums. I bought all the 90s ones and some of the early 2000s ones. So, and I'll admit, I liked the Helloween stuff better than I thought. Michael Kiske left not too long after Kai left. Then we got what's his name, Andy Darris. Hope I'm saying that right. Which I like. I like Michael Kiske better, but I like Andy Darris pretty well, and the music's pretty good. I mean, it's not their best, but it's good. So let's talk about it. So after Kai Hansen left Helloween, they did this really odd album, Pink Bubbles Go Ape. Yeah. So we went from writing two of the most epic power metal and influential power metal albums of all time to putting out Pink Bubbles Go Ape. What do we have? A lady eating a fish? I can't say I understand. I mean, even look at the back. What? I don't know. So this is kind of a departure from the Keeper of the Seven Keys stuff, for sure. It's more of it's definitely a lot more tamed, not as fast, not as good all around. But it's still good. It's still good for what it is. But so let's put this up against Gamma Ray's debut. So Kai Hansen started his own band under Gamma Ray, and he got the singer Ralph Sheepers, who actually sang on the first three Gamma Ray albums. And before Gamma Ray, he actually sang for another German band called Tyrant Pace, which is just nothing but pure Judas Priest worship. I ain't gonna lie, that's all it is. Although they're pretty good. I actually did a Tyrant Pace video. I like it, I do. But Ralph Sheepers is a good singer. I think I even heard one time that he even tried out for Judas Priest when Halford left. So that goes to show you he's pretty good. The weird thing about Gamma Ray's start here, though, I actually just recently I've seen some comments on one of my videos saying that somebody didn't really like the first three Gamma Ray albums. I'll be honest, when I first heard them, because my first Gamma Ray albums were Power Plant and No World Order, so when I heard the first three, I was like, this is definitely different, and it has a different singer. I felt like they were a little goofier back in the day on the first three albums, and I really wasn't into goofy music. I liked my music to be very, very serious. I know. I have a sense of humor, but with music, I don't really combine those. So, I over the years, I started really liking these albums. They are really good if you give them a chance. Like, they're all over the place, like, stylistically. I mean, like, you can't say that Heading for Tomorrow just has one specific sound, because it doesn't. It's got a lot of Judas Priest. There's some elements of, like, Lust for Life definitely sounds like something it could have been off a Helloween album. I mean, it's there, but some of it just sounds like Judas Priest. So there's some Queen moments on here, I mean, for sure. I don't know. It just goes all over the place. Really does. And even some hard rock songs are even on here, like Free Time. It's not one of the best songs, but it's okay. Anyway, so head to head. Now I got some backstories. Pink Bubbles Go Ape versus Heading for Tomorrow. Personally, I think Kai Hansen did a better job. Heading for Tomorrow, once you give it a chance, is really good. Pink Bubbles Go Ape is actually good, but I just can't help but feel like Kai Hansen did something just a lot more remarkable going off on his own on his first try. And the one thing I could say about this, it does have Michael Kiske on it. I will say that. But it didn't save it. It didn't make it amazing. It just made it good. So Gamma Ray, I would say, definitely started off with something a little better. If not a little weird and bizarre, like, definitely didn't completely go the Helloween direction like you would think he would have gone, but it's cool. Next. Why? Actually, I think I kind of know why. I've heard, I haven't really looked into it, but I've heard that Michael Kiske isn't really that much of a metalhead. So that might have contributed to this album. And I think one of the guitarist of Helloween, I can't remember, I think he said something like they were wanting to make their own, like, Beatles White Album or something. Like, well, I could tell you they definitely did not. I'm not super familiar with Beatles stuff. You know, I got my respect for the Beatles, but I'm not like a big hardcore Beatles guy or nothing. But this album is basically, from what I remember, it's more hard rock than it is. It's almost like their Load. You know, like, it's not great. I've tried listening to it. You know, sometimes these type of albums will grow on me and I'll actually really like them, but this one hasn't yet. Gamma Ray, though, did Sigh No More, which, look at these album covers. Like, what? Like, what are they doing? what were these bands trying to do? I will say that Sigh No More, when I first heard it, I thought it was like, what is that? Like, that's not, like, this ain't power metal. This sounds like, I don't know. It honestly sounds more like Judas Priest. But I'll admit, I like it, though. But it just had a hard time appreciating it at first, because it just didn't sound like Gamma Ray to me. So between the two of them, this is actually a lot better. Like, there's a lot of good variety, a lot of good songs. I don't know. Like, I really like everything on here. I mean, Rich and Famous, As Time Goes By, Start Running, Dream Healer. I mean, the whole thing to me is good. I even like the ballad Father and Son is actually even pretty good. This one, I can't even remember what the highlights were. I just don't care for this one. So Gamma Ray would definitely wins again. Gamma Ray was experimental, but Helloween was even more experimental, unfortunately. Okay. Then Helloween. Now we got Andy Darris. We're into that era. This isn't one of the best rated Helloween albums. But I'll be honest, I liked it better than I thought I was going to like it compared to what people were saying about it. I mean, nobody said it was horrible, I don't think. It's just more like the disappointing, like it could have been better. I agree with that. I think the first half of this album's really good. It sort of starts to sound like Helloween again, sort of. Except for, I think, I don't know. It's a lot slower songs. Not total power metal but I think it's good. I like Soul Survivor, Where the Rain Grows, Why, Mr. Ego, Perfect Gentleman, all songs I actually really like. So, I don't know. But Gamma Ray did Insanity and Genius. Now, we're getting a little better with the album covers here. Nothing fancy, but better. I actually kind of like this one, actually, quite a bit. I think it's kind of cool. But this one is starting to sound more like power metal. It's still a lot of Judas Priest in it. You're going to find that a lot in Gamma Ray. He even brought that sound a little bit even in the Helloween, but this album has some really good stuff on it. Like, this really starts to sound like Gamma Ray. And again, it's got Ralph Sheepers. Tribute to the Past, No Return, Last Before the Storm is definitely one of the best. The Cave Principles, one of my favorite songs. Future Madhouse is awesome. The song Gamma Ray, which is actually a krautrock band called Birth Control. Go and listen to the original. It's interesting. Insanity and Genius. This whole thing is good. I like it. Personally, well, when I say whole thing, I'd say the whole thing is pretty well good. I don't think there's any tracks I hate or anything, but so I would definitely say Gamma Ray again. Although Helloween made a better effort, Gamma Ray put out a much better album in its entirety. So again, I'll say Gamma Ray wins that again. The Time of the Oath. Boy, doesn't this look like a throwback to like Keeper of the Seven Keys? Unfortunately, it really doesn't sound anything like Keeper of the Seven Keys. But I will say it's an enjoyable album, though. It's basically Helloween being Helloween, but without the over-the-top epicness and greatness of Keeper of the Seven Keys. And it makes me think, is it because Kai Hansen's not involved? It might be. Because if you look at what Gamma Ray was doing at the time, Land of the Free, this right here is 100%, in my opinion, a continuation of like Keeper of the Seven Keys. This could have been Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 3 for me. Easily. So I'm starting to see a pattern that I do think Kai Hansen was pretty essential in Helloween's greatness. There's some people that love Helloween. I get it. But I've had some people even say that they liked that Kai Hansen was going back to Helloween, that was better thing than having Gamma Ray. Almost like, well, I don't see that. I definitely much more of a Gamma Ray guy. But again, a pretty basic but good power metal album. A freaking amazing classic. Like, again, Gamma Ray gets the point. Like, it's just to me, it's a kind of a no-brainer. It just is. Okay, now here's one. Here's one that's really well liked. This one, I guess it came out in the year 2000. I remember before I really knew who Helloween was. I remember seeing this album at Best Buy all the time and was so tempted to buy it and never did. Because I really didn't know what they were at the time. But anyway, this one's really well liked. And it's funny, it's called The Dark Ride. You think it's going to be something like uber heavy from beginning to end. And honestly, it's still it's still kind of happy like Helloween with a couple of heavier tracks. But Gamma Ray, and keep in mind, this is all from like the late 80s to the year 2000, okay? Gamma Ray is only in 1997. Helloween is already at the year 2000 by this time. And Gamma Ray again has put out another Keeper of the Seven Keys like type of epicness again. Helloween did a good job here, but again, this is just Helloween. Like, I don't know. It's just like Helloween without the big giant epicness. Great songs on here though, but this is what epicness is right here. Like, by far, to me, superior. I can't help it. So Gamma Ray wins again. So now Gamma Ray, or Helloween, has already moved into the 2000s, okay? Gamma Ray still has 2 more albums. 2 more. Well, not, that makes 4. 2 more albums. Power Plant. Okay, 1999. Some people would argue this is the best Gamma Ray album. It's not my top favorite. I think this album's got some moments that are just so good that it makes me want to think it could be my favorite, but then there's things that kind of throw it off. I think the consistency is a little weird, but this is a fantastic album. It was the first one I ever bought, actually, from Abyss Records way back in the early 2000s. I mean, this is like Painkiller, but power metal. It's this is so much better. I mean, if Gamma Ray didn't already destroy Helloween in the 90s, this should have this is the final nail in the coffin. Oh, no. It's not the final nail because Gamma Ray has 1 more. Bam! No World Order. This is the final nail. No. Power Plant's the final nail. This is the hammer that drove it in, okay? So this was the first Gamma Ray album I ever heard, and it blew my mind. And I know some people are a little iffy about this one. I don't get it. I think this one's amazing. As far as Gamma Ray goes, this is kind of like their darkest album, their most darkest, kind of most serious album. And I just think it's amazing. This to me is kind of like Gamma Ray's dark ride. Other than the song Solid kind of ripping off Rapid Fire from Judas Priest, I don't really hear a whole lot of plagiarisms here. I mean, sure, there's a lot of a lot of nods to Judas Priest all over this thing, especially Painkiller, but guys, and I love the song Solid. I don't think it's so much of a ripoff that I can't listen to it. I definitely hear that guitar riff it's basically it contains the first half of Rapid Fire, but it's a little different though. But the drum beat is the same. It's pretty much the same. But I love this album, man. Every track is a freaking banger. I think it's one of the most cohesive Gamma Ray albums in the collection. Right up there with Land of the Free and Somewhere Out in Space, as far as I'm concerned. I love it. I love the album cover. I got the blanket on my wall right there. So yeah, I mean, tell me that Helloween is better than Gamma Ray. Now, I don't know. The 2000s, I've got all the 2000s Gamma Ray albums. You all would know that if you watched, a couple videos ago. I don't have all the Helloween. I do have Better Than Raw over there, though. And I do got the newest Helloween album, which I actually liked a lot. I wouldn't call it quite Keeper the Seven Keys good, but it's really good. Better Than Raw is pretty good, but again, I put it kind of sitting with, the other Helloween albums that came out before it. I don't know. Helloween is good. They don't blow my mind anymore, but they're good. Maybe there's something in the 2000s I'm missing. I'm going to have to just buy a stack of those and do a video on that. But I can just tell you, and Gamma Ray in the 2000s is not the best. They're very hit and miss. Definitely a bumpy ride, but I still like what they offered. So I don't know, maybe Helloween maybe beat them in the 2000s. I don't know yet. I'll find out on my own. But anyway, yeah, and by the way, as far as the score goes, Gamma Ray got all of them. Helloween did not beat out a Gamma Ray album once. For me, okay? For me. But anyway, if you like this video, and I didn't take anybody off, like and subscribe. And stay metal. Till next time.